weeks ago, I posted 2 videos about this mansion. You can go back on my channel and look for those videos. This mansion is 24,000 square foot, either 24 or 25,000 square feet. Who's counting? You know, it's just a big, big place. This is bathroom 11. I'm not going to call it 11 necessarily, but there are 11 bathrooms here. And this is one of the ones that I'm tearing out and renovating. This is day 1. So basically, anytime I renovate a bathroom, I always do the easiest thing first, which is basically taking out the toilet and the sink. In this case, it's not easy because all of the supply lines come up through the ground, and they integrated the supply lines into the pedestal of this sink. So it's going to be a little bit tenuous to get this out of here. But I did loosen up. I got rid of the P-trap connection, and I got rid of the supply line. Oddly enough, they didn't bolt this in. There are 2 little cutouts on the left and the right for bolts to go into the wall. They didn't bolt it in. They have a rail there that the inside part of this sink attaches to, and they did put the rail into the wall. So it's just a matter of cutting out the caulking and pulling the sink out, and then I can deal with the vanity, or the pedestal rather. The toilet, I already took out the bolts and all that stuff and removed the lid. I'm not going to get rid of it just yet because I might be using it while I'm here. I don't know. I will get rid of it eventually when I start taking out this tile. So, getting to the task at hand. I really, did I say really? Capital R, do not want to take out this granite. This is, back in the day, we were doing a lot of natural stone, specifically granite, marble, and travertine. There was some slate once in a while, so there's about 4 different natural stones that we were doing back then. And I'm talking 20 years ago. So I have a hard time demolishing all this stuff because I know the cost. One of these pieces, one of these 12 by 12 granite, back in the day was in the neighborhood of about $10 to $15 each one of these. You might get lucky and find one for $7 or $8 each, but that was kind of the exception, not the rule. So there's a lot of money tied up in here, and to say nothing of the bull nose, because all these bull nose had to be custom done in order to do this base plate all the way around. And so that's going to be quite problematic taking those off too. The tub is going, and he wants to save the tub. I'm not sure why, so I have to be a bit careful. It's metal. Let me make sure. Anytime, and I say this, and I misspoke before, you can tell a metal tub by putting a magnet. And the magnet will stick to it. However, cast iron will act the same way. So I can't say that it's metal, and I can't say that it's cast iron, because it sticks either way. It's going to be heavy to take out, so I'm going to take out as much material as I can and get my get some help taking this out, because this, knowing full well that this tub is probably metal, steel as it were. If it's a steel tub, it's still going to weigh enough. I need help, and if it's a cast iron tub, I'm going to need 2 other sets of hands, because these things typically will weigh about 300 to about 350. Yeah, it's like lifting a human being. Blah, blah, blah. So the easy things. So I talked about those, and then the easy things after that is going to be the sliding glass door. So I'm going to dismantle this and take it out. He's not going to go back with it, so I'm just going to throw it out anyway. And then the easy things about taking off all of this stuff. Relatively speaking, easy, but he wants to save. He wants to save the Kohler brand, yay. He wants to save all this stuff because he has other bathrooms in this house, as I said, 10 other ones, and I think there are probably a couple other tubs. So these are scrap parts that are not going to be easy to come by. So for that reason, we're going to save all this, or I'm going to save all this stuff for my customer. But the sliding glass doors will go. Again, I really hate to take out all of this. It breaks my heart, and it's going to break my back in addition. This is so cool. Back in the day, we could just polish off the edges here and have a factory edge. We didn't have to worry about Schluter or bullnose or any of that stuff. And it's very, very nicely done. The cuts are just like fantastic. Look at that. Look at that. No chipping, no overcut, no nothing. I love it. This guy definitely knew what he was doing. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Isn't that funny? Got bullnose on the inside of here. That's where I'm at, and I'm going to get started. Probably won't film much of it because, again, I'm a one-man show and it becomes difficult to set up tripods and all that stuff. If there's something that really stands out where I can say, oh, somebody can learn something from this, then yes, I will film it. But other than that, it's just kind of playing it by ear. This is going to take a while. This is going to take me probably the good part of, I'm guessing, about a day and a half to 2 days. Good part of 2 days to take all this stuff out. I don't know the underlayment of this floor. What I do know is that, and if you watch my other videos, you'd know also, that this is relatively flat. And then about right here on this grout line, it slants. And I put a straight edge to show there's about a 3/4 inch drop going that direction. So I don't know the makeup of the floor. I'm assuming the house is settled and that's the reason for the drop and all that stuff, but I don't know if it's Durarock under here. I don't know if there's a mortar buildup. I don't know what I don't know. But I will know when I get into it. The other thing too, this humongous mirror, this is a good part of probably a 9-foot mirror by about 3.5 foot wide. Definitely need help with this. A lot of times, and there's no way to get this mirror out of here, a lot of times what they do with these larger mirrors is they put it on a rail. So this rail is actually attached to the wall and it just slid right inside of there. And then you know if it's glued or not because of the movement. See, I clearly can move this mirror back and forth, which means it's not attached to the wall. It's up there by virtue of that trim. That trim piece right there, that crown molding, is how this is up here. So that's going to be kind of tricky too, because the crown molding goes in an angle. So I'm going to have to cut off that end and cut off that end to take this one off. And then I got to get some suction cups and another set of hands, because this thing is going to weigh a good part of probably 120, maybe 130 pounds or so. Anyway, I'm going to get started, quit yapping, get to work. There's a set screw that's usually, I need an Allen wrench for that. In order to take this off, that set screw ties into the pipe that feeds the spout. And I can't manipulate a set screw. I don't have, do I have an L? I might have an L Allen wrench. But an L Allen wrench will get up under there, and then just one little quarter turn at a time will eventually get this loose. But that's basically how to get all this pretty stuff out of here. The biggest issue that I've run into so far, and I've only been on the job for a very short time, there's usually a cross section on one of these drains that go that direction, this direction, and there's a tool that you can get in there that's kind of like a fork, and you put it in there and you turn it with some channel locks, and you can get this out, which free and clears the tub from the P-trap. But unfortunately, that's long gone, so I'm going to have to engineer something else to get this flange out of here. But basically that's it. And then of course, the shower head. Wand contraption that was put on here instead of a shower head, which is a great idea. I just like the magnetic ones, these ones that kind of lock into this little plastic doohickey, kind of cheesy. I like the really strong magnetic ones a lot better. So I'll get this off right here. Anyway, that's about it. If you were going to save, I don't know what reason you would have, but if you were going to save the neck for your shower head, don't grip it like this, right, with channel locks, because you're going to ruin the surface, the stuff, whatever that stuff happens to be. So channel locks with a rubber handle is that you turn it to the left, right? Turn it to the right tightens it, turn it to the left loosens it. Hold on a second, let me see if I can do this with my camera in my hand. Yep. And that's how you would do it without taking off the, whatever it is. If it's chrome or whatever it is, there you go. There I go. So, that's it. That's all the easy stuff. Now I can start getting the hammer and chisel out and ruin this perfectly good granite. Oof, pains me, pains me, pains me. All right, I got started on all this baseboard. Fortunately, they spot bonded every single one of these. Spot bonding, if you don't know, is just like a little dab of thin set and to the wall. So easiest way, take a razor knife. So, because you usually have caulking at the top. I didn't do that because I know they're going to be painting in here. This is kind of weird. So, for whatever it's worth, and I said I'd come on camera if I saw something that could be learned. When you set tile, and DIYer homeowner, if you're starting in this trade or whatever the case is, when you set tile, please put some thin set on your wall. Let me use green board down here. People get after me all the time. I can't believe you're using green board on your shower wall. The things I have to do beyond YouTube. Grain board, there's no problem whatsoever. Grain board was used all the way back in the 1980s in 4x4 ceramic tile, non-sanded grout, yada, yada, yada. The problem people got into is tubs usually have a lip, and they usually set their grain board or whatever they have on top of the edge of the tub instead of the top of the lip. And that's where they run into the problem, because then you have wicking going up to your grain board. In this case, because they use silicone around the bottom here, no water got into the grain board. And of course, no water gets into a vertical surface, so the grain board is pristine. But I digress. What I was about to say, before I so rudely interrupted myself, there's spot bonding going on. Same as there was on the baseboard, I can clearly see there was spot bonding on the wall, specifically. There's blobs of thin set, and as I take these tile off, I'll be able to confirm that. But specifically, what I'm talking about is back buttering your tile and troweling out thin set. So I don't care if you trowel out your thin set onto the wall and then back butter your tile, or you butter your wall and then back butter your tile. It doesn't really matter. In this case, they back butter their tile. So, well, strike that. They troweled their tile, which is not what I do. I trowel my thin set onto my wall, back butter my tile, and then I have good adhesion from my thin set on the wall to the thin set on the tile. They did not do that. Having said that, this was clearly very, very difficult to get off. Well, you didn't watch me, but it wasn't the easiest thing to get off, regardless and despite that they didn't do it right. Because if you see, very little of this thin set actually stuck to the wall. All these blobs here is sheetrock mud. And the sheetrock mud is what got stuck. This one's a lot better, but all the rest of them spot bonded. Spot bonded. And spot bonding is the wrong way to set tile. Does it work? Yes. Is there a possibility the tile could have come off the wall? Yes, there is that true possibility. Having said that, when enough tile are buttered up against each other 3/8 thick with, you know, these heavy grout lines and all that stuff, it's not going anywhere. So any harm, any foul to spot bonding in this case? No. This shower lasted many years. Probably it's been in here 20 years at least. And so no harm, no foul. But it's the wrong way to do it. So I'm just letting you know, as a homeowner DIYer, please, at least put thin set on the wall so that you have something that's grabbing the tile, right? Even if you spot bonded the tile, put something on the wall so now the wall has something to grab the tile, because the wall had nothing. It had sheetrock mud. That's all it had to grab. And sheetrock mud is weak, you know, it's just weak. Anyway, basically what I'm doing is I'm just going in with a pry bar, and I'm doing this one-handed, yay, not so yay. I'm going in one-handed, well, two hands now. Just trying to see if I can get it loose, but then I'm going to muck up the sheetrock, which I don't really care about because everything's going to get mucked up anyway. On any other job, I wouldn't be too concerned about like just busting out, just taking a hammer and busting out the center of these tile and let them all drop and all that stuff into the tub. Granite is no joke, folks. Granite is no joke. If you want a tough tile, granite, no joke. Now, my next stud, I was wrong. My next stud is right here, so they didn't even do 16 inches over. So it's about 8-9 inches over. Now I can get my pry bar up under here. And then my next stud is way back there. In fact, it's about 2/3 of the way over. It's over here. So I'm going to inevitably mess up this wall anyway, so I'm not going to take time to kind of show you how to get one tile off. It's going to be difficult at best. This is why this is a gym membership. So I'm going to get started on this hands-free because I can't hold the camera. And if you got something out of this, yay. something interesting as I start taking all the tile off of the tub. You know, like tubs are a certain length. Usually they're 60 inches. And for whatever reason they have, I don't know. Maybe it's because there's a vent up there. I'm not sure what's in that little recess. Either which way, they decided, well, we need an extra 3 inches over here, an extra 3 inches over here. So they literally built up, you're not gonna believe this, look at this. So this is the tub deck, as it were. This is what the tub rests on. Look at the buildup. Is that crazy? Is that crazy? Like, this is all mortar. This is all mortar. It just literally was on there. So they, to be fair, they put Durock on the top of this 1 by whatever, a 2 by, I think it's 2 by 6. They put Durock on top. Then they realized, wow, we got to build up a whole nother inch. So they decided to put mortar, like they just, look at how it conformed to the tub. That's one of these weighs, this is probably a good part of, I don't have a way to weigh this, 2 pounds? This is probably like holding 2 pounds of bacon. I only know that bacon weighs a pound. That's about 2 pounds times 15, 20 of them. Look at that, look at that, look at the buildup. That's just crazy. Like, there's other ways you could have built this up, but, you know, okay. I wonder if they had this idea. I wonder if they had this idea prior to them. I wonder if they came up with this along the way, or if they already planned on how are we going to get this tile bullnose, you know, to look pretty all the way around. They made it happen. They did make it happen. Look at the outside of here. Again, an inch of buildup of thin set in order for these top tile. Where are they at? I took them all. These top tile were sitting on here. So somewhere in here there's that same deck, that same 2x4 or 2x6 or whatever it is in here. And they put, instead of, is it Durock? I don't think they put Durock. I haven't taken all this stuff up. Oh yeah, they did. They put Durock down here, and then they put all this mortar down and had the tile sitting like this. Or was it like this? I don't remember. Anyway, double bull nose, which is good. So it looks good on both sides. And then this tile matched up to it like that, right up underneath. But something interesting, this is all green board, yeah? There are no studs. There's no studs. Like deep inside, about 3 inches, there is a stud, you know, holding up this. But I don't know, this green board was floating the whole time. Like, this green board was only held up literally by the weight of the tile, which weighs a ton anyway. Because there's no studding in here whatsoever until you go back far enough, you know, 4 inches, and then you see one that's holding up the deck. It's a crazy build process, even you know, spot bonding. And we saw spot bonding downstairs. If you looked at my other videos that I posted on this house, you saw all the spot bonding down there. And spot bonding is the wrong way to go. Like, all these globs of thin set is not the right way to set tile. Does it work? Does it work? Yes, it'll work, but it's not the right way. And it just shows the amateur naked. Same as I said over here, right? You have, well, I threw all that tile away, but you have nothing here that shows that they troweled out any thin set on the wall. Forget the fact that it's not waterproof. Like, that's almost not a big deal. I'm not gonna hate them on that because, again, this shower is a good part of at least 15 to 20 years old, and there's no mold or anything going on. There's no water penetration into the bottom and all that stuff. So the spot bonding is kind of the least of my issues. The fact that they didn't trowel out their thin set. If they just troweled out their thin set, so that when they spot bonded their tile, the tile has something like, just imagine trowel marks here. Now I'm spot bonding my tile. Now I'm setting it into something. rather than just the surface of nothing, because all these spots is where it was bonded at, and you know, this is just paper. Anyway, this is basically done. For all intents and purposes, I'm finished with the tear out, but I'm not finished with my workout. But yeah, that's how to demo a bathroom. That's how to demo a difficult bathroom. Not all of these are that difficult. I've spent probably 3, pushing 4 hours. Yeah, about 4 hours. And I haven't even got to the floor yet, so the floor will be tomorrow. But that's all I got for now. Well, I finally got 90% of the bathroom is now downstairs, which, trust me, is not easy. This stuff weighs a bunch of like pounds. This is probably just one of these sections. I'm guessing a good 80 pounds. It's a lot of work, you know, just not getting the material off of everything, but then bringing it downstairs and then loading it in my truck and taking it to the dump and unloading it at the dump. It's a lot of work. These are sections of floor. I started taking up the floor today, only to the point where I'm building my shower, because the tub is taking up the rest of the bathroom area and I cannot take that out by myself. So yeah, this is all material from the shower that I'm getting rid of, and I'm not filling these up because just one of these alone is about probably 110 pounds. So yeah, typically I just load up the trash cans into my truck and then all the rest of it goes after that. But my truck is going to be bouncing as I go down the road, and the back end, I'm going to be like a low rider. The front end is going to be up high and the back end is going to be low. And I might bottom out on my wheel well, I don't know. Anyway, I got to get to work, get all this stuff to the dump, dump. If you're going to call me for advice, please donate $50 for 30 minutes. My link to my PayPal and my Patreon account is down below. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so you get immediate notifications as soon as I post videos. And thank you very much for your support.